Louie T. Welcome to this exclusive Command Post. You know what it is. Post up. Take command. I, of course, your Commander-in-Chief, Louie T. Thank you for joining me. Exclusive series here on the LouieTeeNetwork. Long shots with a shot. UDFA Confidential. Talking about guys on the back end of the roster who were undrafted that have a chance to make this football team. This next guy, I don't think is going to make the team. As a matter of fact, I know he's not going to make the team. However, he's just as intriguing as any other UDFA that we've brought in. And here's the reason why. At some point, because I truly believe in Sam Howell, you guys know how I feel about Sam Howell. So at some point, we're going to need a quality backup quarterback behind Sam Howell. And Jacoby Brissett is only going to be here for a year, and then he's going to move on to the next spot where they need a veteran in the locker room for a young quarterback, right? So they signed him to a one-year deal. He's not going to be here past 1 year, more likely than not. I can tell you right now, Jake Fromm is not it. You guys have seen it. You guys know this. I don't have to tell you that. And thus, we need to look to upgrade that position, all right? And this is the guy that I think has a legitimate shot to do it. Undrafted rookie quarterback out of Fordham, Tim DeMorat. Now, I don't know if you watched this guy, but his tape is a lot of fun. We're going to talk about him. I'm excited about him, to be honest with you. I think he's going to make this preseason a very exciting one. Much like we were really intrigued by the preseason last year because of Sam's presence. Like, you didn't have to leave after the starters left the game. There was actually a reason to stick around. I think you're going to have that same feeling watching Tim DeMorat this year. Hopefully, he gets much more of the snaps than Jake Fromm does, but we'll see. I think they like Jake Fromm. I hope this guy comes in and changes their mind. I think he has the potential to do so. Let's take a look at his UDFA classifieds. Let's get into Tim DeMorat.
Confidential.
So Tim DeMorat, 6'4", 220, ran a 4.86 40. So you can see right away he's an athlete, you know, a quality athlete. He's not a supremely gifted athlete, but he can run. He can protect himself with his wheels. All right. Senior quarterback out of Fordham, played in Division II Patriot League with the Fordham Rams, and boy, was he special in that conference. Was named the Patriot League Offensive Player of the Year 3 seasons in a row, including his final year in 2022, which is his most dominant year. We're going to talk a lot about that 2022 season because it was a doozy. Had a record-setting senior season in 2022, throwing for 4,891 yards, 56 touchdowns on 65% completion percentage. So what that tells you is this wasn't dink and dunk city, okay? He wasn't throwing it at the line of scrimmage and having guys catch a bubble screen and take off. He was chucking this bad boy down the field. If you want to watch one game of Tim DeMorat's to get excited, and this is the best game to do it in if you're Tim DeMorat, right? You're not playing a bunch of Division I opponents. Most of the teams you're playing are in your league or in your in Division II. And so they had one Division I opponent on their schedule, and that was the Ohio Bobcats in Week 4 of the 2022 college football season, and he lit them up. 503 yards, 6 touchdowns. He was going back and forth with the opposing team's quarterback. They ultimately lost that game like 55-52 or 55-50 or 53-52 or something like that. It was a crazy game. But Tim DeMorat shredded him. And if you want to watch him sling it, that's the game you need to go watch. You don't need to watch anything else. That's the best opponent he was going to play against, right? And he killed him. Over 5 seasons, 48 games, DeMorat amassed 1,032 completions for over 13,000 yards, 13,454 to be exact, and 123 touchdowns. All of those numbers are both school and league records. So my biggest prerequisite for any undrafted guy coming from a small school, or just any small school guy in general, you don't have to be undrafted, is look, man, you ended up where you ended up. Circumstances dictated that you ended up at Fordham. Okay, fine, it's Division II. Dominate then. If you believe you're an NFL player, you believe you're better than them, dominate. That's exactly what Tim DeMorat did. So now let's take a look at his pros and cons. So we get to his classifieds, and you start out with his size. He's got good NFL size and athleticism and arm talent to make every throw. At 6'4", you know, that's what you're looking for at the quarterback position. The 4.86 tells you, look, he's more than capable of escaping the pocket, using his legs if need be. And the arm talent is there to make every single throw. And one of the things that I was most impressed with, first of all, I don't love his windup. It's a little, you know, wide and all outside. However, once he's done with it, the ball comes out quick and it's accurate a lot of times. And man, does he throw with great touch. We'll talk about that a little bit later on, but I was impressed. Needless to say, I wasn't expecting much. I saw the numbers. I'm like, oh, okay, that's cool. I watched him and I was like, damn, I actually would like to see this guy beat out, you know, Jake Fromm, be the third quarterback on the roster. And, you know, the likelihood is it probably won't happen. They probably trust Jake Fromm a little bit more than they do Tim DeMorat, which is, if you're going to need an emergency guy, you want a guy that's played in the league before, not a guy that's never played in the NFL. I just hope they have an open mind and say, look, I want the best third quarterback, the best developmental quarterback I can have. I think Tim DeMorat is going to be that. He will stare down targets and hold the ball a bit longer than necessary. You know, when you feel like you're a playmaker, you tend to, you know, stare some things down. And if it doesn't come available, you want to hold on to it because you feel like you can make something happen. You see that with him from time to time. He also played in a very heavy RPO offense. You watch him, everything starts with a fake handoff. Everything is RPO, run pass option. He can give it to the running back, he can pull it out and throw it. And it really dictates, you know, what he's going to do, what read he's going to make, because he's reading the end. Do I give it to the back? Do I pull it out and throw a pass? You know, and a lot of what they did, the read option, you know, things of that nature, made it a lot easier for him to have open targets. If you get a corner or a linebacker or a safety with poor eye discipline, they're looking in the backfield, they can get duped by that fake handoff, and he pulls it out, and now a guy's running 30 yards wide open down the field. And you saw that in that Ohio game. Poor eye discipline by the Bobcats, and boy, did Tim DeMorat take advantage of it or what. But there still needed to be some really big-time throws, and boy, did he make them. Which is, I think this next, you know, bullet point here kind of highlights that. Throws with excellent touch and above-average anticipation. Good first and second level accuracy with the ability to hit the deep ball. Man, when I tell you that there was some excellent touch on some of these throws in the back of the end zone, like, he couldn't have ran up and handed it to these receivers any better than he threw it. I mean, they're outstretched arms trying to knock it away, and it's right over their hands into the hands of his receivers. Some good stuff, man. And then he threw with some really good anticipation. There were times where he got walloped in the pocket, but because he got rid of that football on time, within, you know, in the timing and rhythm of the play, he was able to deliver an accurate ball to his guy and give him a chance to run after the catch. I think he's really good underneath in the, you know, first and second levels as a thrower, and an accurate one at that. And he can hit the deep ball. I thought some of those deep balls hung a little while and could have, you know, had a little bit more air on them, but he got it there. You know, the hardest ones to hit are the wide open layups where guys are running 5-7 yards away from any defender. You just don't want to overthrow that thing. I'd rather you underthrow it than overthrow it, right? So there's a lot of good there with Tim DeMorat. A negative is when the play breaks down, his mechanics tend to get sloppy, causing the ball to sail, especially over the middle of the football field. You know, again, he's a guy that will hold on to it a little bit longer, trying to make something happen. Play starts to break down. Maybe the pocket starts to deteriorate. Out goes the fundamentals out the window, right? You know, now all of a sudden he's throwing off of his back foot. It's all arm. There's no leg, you know, drive into it. And all of a sudden now ball is sailing, and next thing you know, it's going straight to a safety or something, right? So that's something just to be mindful of. And we see that with NFL quarterbacks. Pocket starts to break down, things deteriorating around you. You panic. You try to flick one out, and boom, you throw it right to a defender because you didn't follow through, and that ball sails on you. So that's just something he needs to be mindful of. And manipulating the defense, you know, taking that safety away from where you want to go with the football ultimately. He got away with it because he played it for them. Those guys aren't as athletically gifted there in the Patriot League. so you can stare down a target and still get it to him. He's going to have to learn how to look a guy off, knowing that he wants to throw this backside bang 8 and look that safety off front side and then come backside and zip it in there. That's something he's going to have to work on as well. Then finally, had command at the line of scrimmage. He changed plays, was able to make checks, get him into the right run plays and run looks, switch the side of the play if need be, things of that nature. So you always love guys with that kind of level of IQ at the line of scrimmage. A lot was put on his plate, him being, a starter for roughly, 4 years at Fordham. There was a lot of freedom that he was given, and he was able to show that he had command at the line of scrimmage. Dominated Division II competition, man. Look, I can't begin to stress to you, if you have any aspirations of making it to the next level and you played at a lower level of competition than Division I, you better dominate. And they're not coming and plucking a guy that was a mediocre Division II player, right? Generally, if you're a Division II or a Division III athlete that makes it to the NFL, you were the best of the best. So him dominating the way that he did is the reason that he's even here in Washington. Now he's going to have to show that that wasn't a fluke. And I think he has the potential to do it. So who's his comp from a Washington Commanders perspective?
Confidential.
It's Ryan Fitzpatrick. So to me, it fits order. Tim DeMorat. Fitz went to Harvard, right? And he was a 7th-round pick, an afterthought. He was a gunslinger. Tim DeMorat is a gunslinger, goes to a Division II school. And I think if he gets an opportunity, if someone's open-minded enough to allow Tim DeMorat to have an opportunity, just like the Rams were open-minded enough to give Ryan Fitzpatrick a shot as a 7th-rounder, I think he can make a NFL football team eventually, be on an NFL roster. I don't think with Washington having a solidified backup situation this year with Jacoby Brissett that they're going to keep 3 quarterbacks. There's no reason for them to do it, right? Obviously, the new rule allowing you to have an emergency quarterback on game days, I think they're going to keep Jake Fromm around for that purpose, in case of an emergency. Tim DeMorat may not be ready for that in his rookie season, and I get that. But what my mindset is big picture, long term. I'd like to see Tim DeMorat be kept around on the practice squad, continue to develop, and by next year, I want him to unseat because Jacoby Brissett will be gone, and Sam Howell will remain as the starter, and we'll need a backup quarterback. And instead of them going out and spending money on a veteran to come in here and back up, Sam Howell, how about you just promote Tim DeMorat from practice squad to backup quarterback and have him be ready? And again, not spending a ton of money there, reallocating those assets elsewhere, and having a guy that I think will come in if need be and be able to do some things. So that's going to do it for me. Your man Louie T and UDFA Confidential, Tim DeMorat. He's not going to make the football team. I can assure you of that. But what I can also tell you is that this preseason is going to be a lot of fun watching him go out there and sling it around. If these guys on the offensive line can protect, and these receivers that we have, that we got all these undrafted guys and, hopefuls can go out and ball, Tim DeMorat's going to be fun in the second and the third preseason game when we've really got nothing to play for with, nobody really being out there. He's going to be a fun guy to watch. And I think if he takes advantage of that opportunity, hopefully he turns some heads and ends up being around. Even if it's in a practice squad capacity this year, they continue to work with him. I'm hoping that next year he'll be ready to be the backup quarterback behind Sam Howell. That's my hope. But again, we'll see. Anyway, I'm your man Louie T, signing off. You guys, have a good one. Take care.
LouieTeeNetwork.